Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and today I am with some of my lovely patrons. Tonight we are talking about a few different things that have kind of been inspired this week, some questions people have had, things like that, and we're just gonna have fun like we always do and socialize. So if you want to post comments or questions in the chat, we will happily get to them whenever we can. Or we might just gloss over them and just say skip it. We don't care. You know, who knows? But with that, how's everyone doing?
Doing good here.
The dog looks happy. Which one's this again? One day I'm gonna remember this.
This one's Spunky, and the black and white one is Isley.
Isley. Well, Spunky looks very happy until you woke him up.
Yeah. Well, I made sure I took him for a good walk before the game started, so he might be mellow.
Nice. And how are you, Dave? You cut your hair. What?
Oh, well, I didn't. I had my partner do it. So.
Uh-oh. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's why it's all uniform. I will not show you the back. Anyway, I'm doing good.
Are you upset with it? You don't
No,
seem
not
happy
at all.
about it. Oh, okay.
No, it's fine.
See, I just shaved my head, but mine's getting a little long, so that's why I'm wearing a hat the last few.
Well, see, this
weeks.
is now the fourth or fifth time I've had it cut since I think March. When we're haven't been allowed to go out. So it's been getting better, and I now know I don't have actual like hair trimmers or anything. So, but I got plenty of beard trimmers, and I learned the hard way that the numbers on the beard trimmer are way different than the numbers on a hair trimmer. So like, I go to the hairdresser, just a 4 across the top. Cool. All right. Set the beard trimmer 4. Oh no, that's way shorter. But four times in, we're good now. I know to set it to 20.
That's hilarious.
I had a haircut last October back in 2019. So.
Yeah, I saw the ponytail. I was like, oh man, Victor.
Yeah,
he's a party over there, man.
Right on.
I would leave it out, but then everybody calls me a long hair hippie. It's like, no, you've never really actually talked to me, have you? That.
Nice. How are you doing, Peter?
Not too bad.
Yeah, ready for our game Thursday?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple ideas.
Did session 1 go exactly how you expected it? Since you know everybody?
I had an outline. It actually went according to my outline, which I was really surprised. I mean, like some of the obviously details,
right?
I did not expect, but I had 3 acts, and they basically followed according to what I thought. And I was really surprised that it was 2.5 hours.
Oh, really? You thought it'd take longer?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because I'm used to 3.5, 4-hour games, and I was like, if you would have told me it's gonna be 2.5 hours, I would have said it's probably gonna be terrible.
But it was good.
Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah. I didn't feel like I had to rush through anything. Like I kind of had to push you guys along or anything. It just it had a natural stopping point, and that kind of worked out. So.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was a fun game. I do have to admit that. I was laughing the whole time, obviously, and my cheeks hurt, from laughing the whole time. Paula watched it, and she enjoyed it. So, but yeah, no, it was good. I'm looking forward to this week. It was not what I expected to happen. I mean,
well, that's good.
If you guys haven't watched it yet, the Pulp Cthulhu game we played was just wild. Don't watch it around children though, or at work.
You want me to do a PSA for before, so you can play before the show?
No, you're fine.
I can do it.
If anything, I could put something on the overlay, like rated mature or rated R or something. It's probably more R right now, but I could see it slipping into mature.
Yes, it was. It was slowly slipping as.
I mean, I expected it to be goofy and over the top, but then, like, I don't know. I didn't expect it to be like that. Oh man. Yeah, so it's been a good couple weeks. We've been busy, but at the same time, this is my down week, because every other week is kind of a super busy week, and then the next is down. This week working on some videos, and I decided I'm not gonna. I was trying to do a sixth day of live streaming. I decided Sundays I just shouldn't do that. I should just take the day for me or whatever I want to do, work on some videos, because that's kind of relaxing for me and just not worry about it. And so, I mean, who knows? Maybe occasionally I'll play a video game or something on stream, but I'm not going to worry about it. So
you're not obligated. So.
Yeah, I'm not committing to it. And who knows? I might not even turn on the mic. And it might not even be announced. It might just be hey, if you swing by Twitch, it's there. So, but yeah. And if anything, that would only be on like a Sunday or a Monday. But yeah, no. So this week's a good week. We've got obviously our mini painting tomorrow. Paula is, I can't remember what she was going to do. She was talking about it the other day. I think she finished the one she was working on. Oh, and then I'm getting like this massive blue dragon soon. So now that we have this new setup, I'll actually be able to paint again as well sometimes when I feel like it. Because I'll be right next to her now on this side of the table. So that'll be good. Before I was on the opposite side, so it just was a pain in the butt trying to reach everything. But yeah, so. And then Friday there's no game, so I think I'll work on some videos that night. And it'll be good. So, anyways, one of the questions Victor asked was, how do you make interesting NPCs, but make sure that they're not overpowered? And so Victor, correct me if I'm wrong. You're thinking like creating NPCs that something like about them is interesting, like their powers or something? Is that kind of where the question comes from?
Like their powers or their personality or how major of a part they play in a campaign.
Okay.
Because, and I'm not criticizing any of my previous DMs, but there's been that time it's like, well, this NPC seems like why are we even here?
Yeah, I've had a GM do that once.
And I'm probably
GMPCs, GM player characters are the most annoying characters usually. The ones that are always there and steal the spotlight.
Yeah, and as a GM, I always make sure I don't do that. But then sometimes I think I go to the other extreme.
Where they're useless?
Yeah, I got like there was like one telepath I made up for Heroes Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I downplayed her so much, nobody bothered even looking at her.
Right.
And it's like, okay, she's like one of the NPCs that can take out the Superman of the group.
Right. Yeah.
If she got mad.
Right. So I think there's at least three questions built into this, right? How do you make an interesting NPC with superpowers where the powers aren't too overpowered, right?
Right.
Where it's basically just like a god among them, right? The other question is, how do you make a NPC that's not going to steal the spotlight, right? That might be the other term. Do either of you want to try and tackle that? I have some ideas, but I'll let you guys take a crack if you want.
Typically, the one thing I'll do is they'll maybe have a gimmick, or they're amazing, but only at like one thing. And that's kind of the easy way I take to make them where if that one scenario, oh my gosh, they're the most amazing person ever, but then you put them in another fishbowl and they're like, I can't really do what I really wanted to here.
Right.
That's probably where I went wrong, because the telepath NPC I made up, she was just showing up in places she wasn't supposed to be. So they've kind of probably thought she was more of a groupie. But
so I think there's a couple ways I handle it. So one, I think when there's an NPC, one of the things I think you should do is, what is the importance of the NPC? Why are they even in the game, right? Obviously, if they have superpowers, then you probably want to use those powers for something within the game at some point, right? Otherwise, they don't need the powers. You can, remove the powers, right? But maybe the powers are there to defend them in case the players attack them, But once you stat something, it will die. So,
yeah, she had stats and everything.
Right.
Right.
So I would probably say figure out the importance of the character and stick to that. So one of the things I do is when I'm running something and I need an NPC that's going to travel with players, right? A lot of times it's because the players are going into an uncharted area that they're not familiar with. There's one big one. And that person is there just to guide them there. Typically, if they may or may not have a strong connection to that group. If they don't, then they're probably going to do whatever to just save their ass, depending on what their like alignment is or their personality is. And even then, I wouldn't have them save any of the players, but maybe I'd throw in a couple extra bad guys to show off what that one can do. And don't even roll for it. Just say narratively, like if she had telekinetic powers, maybe she takes 4 of the guys and lifts them up and just holds them there the whole time, right? And, then the players know she's pretty powerful, right? She subdued 4 on her own or whatever. Maybe she knocked them out or threw them or whatever. But now they know she's got powers, but she didn't dominate the fight. She just kind of did something quick, and then the others were able to do what they wanted. But I would hide that more in narrative than with like, okay, let me roll to see if she actually does this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's one way you could go about it. The other way is to just not have them work that closely with the party. Like they're there to give quests, but they're not important to the travel, and they don't travel, right? Maybe there's a reason they can't travel. Like, well, I'm waiting for my kid who's been gone for 4 hours and he needs to come back to, or whatever, Oh, yeah. And so you can always do something like that. But yeah, and then as for like creating them to make them unique or interesting, I make these tables, every Wednesday, and maybe that's a table I need to make. How to make, what's interesting about this NPC? No, I'm just kidding. Usually, like having some kind of a trait or a flaw just is enough to make them interesting. Weird quirks, it doesn't always have to be like some extreme, over the top power or ability. Sometimes their weakness is what's interesting. So I actually in my Blackrock game I have a gnome woman who the characters, it was the first NPC that came across in the game. She's actually really powerful, but I portrayed her as this weak, frail, old gnome woman, and her son wouldn't come home, and so she sent the players on a quest to go do that, and they took some of her food to her son, and found out. Well, they ended up killing him, and I don't think they found out that he's cursed yet or was cursed, but they then went and told the mother what happened, and yeah. So who knows where that's gonna go, but unique personality. So Paula in the chat says unique personality. I agree. So weird quirks are always interesting. Annoying voices sometimes can be interesting. Things like that. So, someone's calling us daddy now? In the chat or whatever. So anyways, so that's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, give me a couple ideas there. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, if you introduce an NPC that maybe is powerful or maybe should know things, make sure that the players ask them they do know those things, because the players will get pissed if they have super scientist and all of a sudden super scientist doesn't have answer to something that he should know. Because my players will always utilize any NPC, anything that I give them. They're like, why do we need to go in there? Don't we have like a whole team of soldiers that can do that? Yeah, so we're going to bring them in, and then we're going to ask that scientist how to do this because he knows. And I'm like, oh, damn.
They're just giving you a hard time, man. That's who they are. But yes, that I agree with that, because you never know what the players will ask for sure. Yeah, so hopefully that helped, Victor.
It did give me I saw 2 things I was doing wrong or should have done.
You're probably not doing anything wrong. If they had fun, you're not doing anything wrong.
I always have a blast playing with these guys, and it's like, Yeah, because it's superheroes or whatever we play. It's like, well, they're having fun and relaxing.
Right. Before I jump into the next one, so I talked about this a while ago. So I bought this at Michael's to show off my tactical tokens. I haven't finished it yet, obviously, but eventually this is going to be organized, and I will then also paint it and everything. I'm so excited. I just felt like showing that off because I found it.
Yeah, it'll look cool. Kind of looks like a book from one angle.
It is. It's like those wooden books you get at Michael's, and
Yeah.
so you can put it on your bookshelf to look cool. So I'm probably going to put on the side like Dave's Dave's like tactics to tokens or something like that, and make it sound like a book title. I don't know. I'm gonna figure something out.
We'll work on book titles for you.
There you go. Speaking of tactical tokens, if you look at Peter's screen, you can see some of the amazing work that
Yeah.
was done.
Yes. Yeah, they turned out very well. Thanks.
So, Peter, you did that art and sent that over to him, and he then made tokens out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And he
cool.
did some coloring too. And
Oh, nice. Look at that. Now, if people want to do custom orders like that, Dave, where should they go?
Up on tacticaltokens.com, in our header, there's a custom tokens. There's a couple custom tokens buttons, but it's in our shop, 1-inch custom tokens. There's also a button on the main page, and it takes you there, and you can upload the images you want made. But Peter, that's awesome that you're the artist behind the tokens.
yeah,
Peter
there's a
does some
couple.
awesome stuff.
Yeah, art kind of comes and goes. Like sometimes it will work really well, and then sometimes I will spend hours and it look like complete garbage. It's like, no, not happening tonight. Let's wait another.
Yeah, I was conflicted with coloring them, but I figured I'd ask because I was tempted to leave it black and white, because then like the person can color it in if they have the markers themselves each time.
They look good with the color. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to keep the main character art still black and white for that reason, if the person wanted to color it, because like I don't know what hair color that character is or what thing is. So I asked Peter, he's like, hey, if you had to pick a color, one color for each person, what would you pick? And I'll just put that kind of in the background.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I like
it was fun working on them.
Awesome. So speaking of Peter, he's been uploading more videos on his channel, but his are more live plays than anything. And so it's typically long form content. And Peter had asked, is it better to post smaller segments of live plays, or I guess they're not live plays in that case. They're smaller segments of games, or just the whole thing? And I think you were talking about cutting it down to like an hour, is what you said?
A long time ago, I used to break the 3-hour games into 2 segments, and they would turn out to be like an hour and a half, or sometimes even less than an hour, because I'd edit them.
Right.
And then I got tired of doing that. But now that I have more free time to edit the one game I need to edit, I could just break it into 2 pieces.
Right.
So I was just wondering if that's even worth it to do.
Well, I think it would depend. So I've seen other people talk about this over the last 5 years with like broadcasting games and stuff. And, I tend to get most of my audience during the live play, I feel sometimes, depending on who's playing in the game. So for example, if I'm playing with like Descent into Avernus, right? Most of our views, and I guess that's going against the trend now, because now my channel's getting seen in the algorithm. But when we were doing it, it was during the live plays. That's when we got all the views, and then it kind of fizzled after that. And then what you also see is as you do more episodes, especially if you number them, people tend to watch the first one more than they watch the second, and they watch that more than they watch the third. And I don't think that's because it's necessarily in long form or short term, because I do have people also that come back, right? And they'll finish watching it. But if you were going to do short term, under 30 minutes is probably best, because a lot of people go on YouTube to watch short clips, right? They go on to be like, oh, I'm going to get my answer to this thing and it should be less than 5 minutes. Or, oh, I want to hear a story. I've got 30 minutes to burn. It seems like most people watching long form content go to Twitch or they go to like one of their streaming services. But so it depends. I think it also comes down to the whole risk reward thing, or not risk reward, but work/reward. And like, is it worth your time to you? And personally, I like shorter clips. I think it's more digestible. I have a hard time watching people play any kind of role-playing game. For some reason, if I don't have a character in it, it's hard for me to get invested. Because I'm not an audible person usually. For example, I think I've said this before, all lecture classes in college, like I couldn't focus long enough. I started taking my laptop to record the class so I could then take continued notes later. But yeah, no, I was never good in lecture, things like that. And I just think it's just audible stuff. It doesn't stick as well for me.
See, I'm just the opposite. A lot of times I'll download somebody doing, a game, and while I'm on third shift at work, I was like, I'll listen to this.
Yeah.
Thank God for tiny Bluetooth.
So I used to do that. So about 4 years ago, I worked for an electronic contract manufacturer, and I was a documentation manager. And so I would sometimes work 13 hours, 14-hour shifts. I pull all-nighters working at that place before and continued to work through my shift the next day. And I would put on podcasts and things like that all the time. But if you were to ask me, like, what was the full conversation, I would never get it. Like, bits and pieces I could mine for, like... So I started listening to Skywalker Studios, I think. I think that was the name of it. And he did a lot of stuff about world building on his podcast, talking about his world. And I loved listening to it because I'd hear something every now and then that would inspire me for my own stuff. That's about as in-depth as I get, back in the day. Now I just don't have time. I mean, that's the reality of it. But yeah, so that I did do that, and I did try to listen to some live plays back then, including Critical Role. I could never could do it though. So,
well, before I give my answer, Peter, what's the goal in uploading the live plays? I assume this is YouTube, right? We're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it'd be initially a chance for the players to watch if they wanted to recap what had happened. But I realized that they're probably not going to do that because I send them notes of the game. And I just figured, I'm recording this. Let me just put it on YouTube. Somebody might want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because if they can see me doing this, then they should be able to do it.
That's cool. I would say, because if it all goes to the same channel, I'm curious about the downside, if any, of doing kind of both. Like, bare minimum, upload the full thing, because it's similar, and we found just in this conversation between us four that the four of us are totally different in how we learn and listen to things.
Yeah.
So it might not hurt to have the full video up, and then on your own time, edit to smaller clips, part 1, part 2, whatever. And in terms of the player notes or other people stumbling across the game and being like, oh, I could do that, maybe even
highlight reel.
Yeah, so you're not editing part 1s through 5 so that it's just smaller versions of the entire thing. It's just like, here's a key moment for whatever reason.
Like big story moments. And then maybe you have another one that's like funniest moments from the game or something.
You could literally do the highlight clips, or just cut out sections, whether it's big story moments or DM moments, in so that maybe you handled a dispute really well. You just cut out that dispute, and then in the description or in the video itself, you watch the whole thing over here. So maybe someone gets a piece of knowledge out of a small section of what you cut, and then they can go look at the larger view. But yeah, the minimum, I would say upload the whole thing, since less work for you. And if someone wants to watch the whole thing, they can. But then if there is a really cool moment and you've got the time, maybe cut it out, and maybe that's what people find.
There is a new trim feature too, where you can actually make highlights on YouTube as well, in YouTube Studio. So if you went back and it'd have to be a live stream though, I think. And you don't live stream that, you record it and then put it up later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the live stream one has like a clipping feature that basically they took from Twitch. On Twitch, even you can actually make your audience, or not make them, but give them access to create your highlights for you.
Yeah,
they just click the little highlight.
I've seen that. I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, so if they click it, it takes them away from your game. I don't know if it does it right then. I don't remember. But then they can choose how many seconds and where to start it and end it, and then they click save, and then you got a highlight on your Twitch channel. It's actually really cool.
In terms of the player notes, back when I was having in-game sessions, I'd record them and send the audio to players afterwards if they wanted to recap. And typically the only people that did that were the ones that like missed the session and then wanted to hear what happened. But what I started doing is, if there were key moments, I'd like note the time, and then I'd send a text document of like, hey, here was this moment at this time. If you want to go listen, here's this moment at this time, go listen. And that allowed people to like skip through. So they didn't have to listen to the full 4.5 hour session, but they were like, oh, what happened when we were talking to the shopkeep? Oh, shopkeep was 30 minutes in. And then we just go to that section. Might be able to do a version of that.
Yeah.
With the videos as well.
Yeah, my vote would probably be just put it up as long form content. But that's just because I don't feel like I ever have. I've talked to like DMG Info and some other YouTubers, and we talked about how like the perfect live streamed game would be well edited and like, just trimmed up, and it would basically be an over the top production, for an audience. It wouldn't be necessarily for the players,
Well, that's exactly what Relics and Rarities did, and I don't think that's getting another season.
Yeah, probably not. It's a lot of work. And if you don't grow an audience big enough to make it justifiable, I'm sure they were paying a lot of people to help with that show, if anything.
It was really awesome. One of my favorites, but like at the same time, I was like, oh, this was really cool. Now I want to watch the full thing.
Right.
Like show me them actually playing.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't know. DMG and he thought it would be great to add commentators and make it more like a sport, and I was like, no. No. That would not appeal to, like, I don't even think that would appeal to the people who are really into mechanics of the game and stuff. Like, I just no. Maybe make that the DVD feature for the commentary behind, that nobody ever watches anyway. But yeah. So yeah, I would do the long form, and I love Dave's idea of the highlights, whatever way you are inspired there.
Yeah, there was a season. There was a season where I did make recap videos. So with session 2 will happen on Thursday, and I will say, time for the recap, and they will give me a recap as to the best of their knowledge, and what I would do is cut that piece right out and say, here's the recap from session 1. But it was always like lagging behind, and that was the hard part.
Yeah, editing takes a long time.
I know. I couldn't imagine trying to my live plays, the only reason I ever even wanted to record them wasn't for an audience. It was literally so I could go back and listen. Because it's that whole audible thing. Like I take terrible notes during a game, and then trying to remember what people said just doesn't stick. So for me, that's the big thing. Or if I have a good note taker in the group, in the past, I always tried to rely on them. But sometimes even they would say something, I'd be like, I don't remember that happening. you know? And I don't drink or anything during games. I don't. It's not like I have an altered mind state when I'm playing.
It's like back in the day, we all got together and everybody be drawing their map. And at the end of the session, we all hold up the map to the dungeon. It's like
all different.
It's like, hold it, guys. Were you in the same dungeon as me?
Yeah.
Clearly not. It'd be funny if the DM gave you bonus like XP if your map was correct or closest. That'd be funny. So yeah, again, I like the highlights thing. It's something I've ever since I remember Gary Vaynerchuk saying, "Oh, you should make micro and macro or macro content, but make micro content of the macro." I've always wanted to do something like that. And then every time I'm like, "Oh, I should do it this time," I'm like, "I'm not doing that."
So much work.
I've got the video of our Tyranny of Dragons game where Roll Stats admitted to the mechanics thing. I have it. I just haven't uploaded it yet. I should, because I think it's hilarious, but just haven't done it. So
just send it to me. I'll do it.
It doesn't need any editing. It's already cut. Like I got one cut to make. Like there's just like 10 seconds of dead air. That's it. But I don't know. I'll do it sometime. Okay. So one of the other things that came up was, I think it came up in the Discord. I think one of the younger guys had mentioned a game getting canceled or something again. And so then I was like, I'm just going to ask people what they do. So what do you do when you're ready to play a game and maybe it's that night or in the upcoming weekend, it's canceled? How does that change things for you? What do you try to do? What do you do?
Generally what we do is, because we have so many board games around, we just pull out one of the board games.
Do you, Victor, when one person misses, do you guys cancel, or what is your rule on that?
If it's if I'm running the game, I say, well, this person's off doing this, or
right. But do you do it if only one person isn't there, or does it take like a majority of people not being there?
If it's one person that can't show up, we'll say, okay,
gotcha.
So and so got a note from that he had to go to this village to take care of this.
Oh, okay. So you don't cancel the game though in that regard.
If two people cancel, us generally about half the party, and it's like, well, we really can't do much tonight.
Gotcha.
So, and then in between time, what I try to do is like, all right, your character had to leave, went to this village. Isley is too big to be on my lap. And what do you think? And we talk about what might have happened there.
Right. That makes sense. What about you guys?
I usually it depends. If it's like a big plot point and that player needs to be there, then we might, cancel. And I'm kind of running into this, not the same scenario as you, but I've got like so many games now that it's like night off. It's kind of like, oh, okay, that's good.
Yes, there's been plenty of times when a game's been like, oh, I've got a person who didn't show. This is kind of a good way to say, let's cancel the game. Or, like I've done that. I don't like to do that, but typically it's when, for me, you're down to half the party. Like that's kind of my thing. It's half or less. I won't run a game. But yeah, there's been days where it's like, oh, the DM calls the game off. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I kind of wasn't up for playing tonight, for whatever reason. So, burnout's real.
Here's kind of question I think is along the same line. Let's say, guy, you've been there for 3 or 4 hours playing and it's like, as a DM, he's like, okay, they're coming up to the big fight, and I don't want to shortchange it by just narrating the way through it.
Right.
It's like, hey, well, we have to stop here because somebody's wife doesn't want us being here till 4:00 in the morning, which I can't blame the wife for. It's like, yeah, I understand her point.
Paula would be happy if I'm gone. She'd be like, oh, he's gone? Yay.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, she wouldn't. She'd be like, nope, you got to wake up with the kids.
Well, at that point, just say, honey, I just stayed up all night.
Yeah, no, like, so yeah, that's my big thing when games get canceled. I've actually had games canceled and then done like a thing like this where we just hung out with the players who did show up for like 2-3 hours just because. So we've done that too and just hung out. Uh-oh.
Like,
I forgot she's in the chat. Uh-oh.
There it is.
But yeah, no, so I like that. And then I've always heard of people being like, oh yeah, well, we just pulled out like cards and played that or whatever. I've always found that very interesting because I don't think I've ever had everyone over and then the session get canceled. It's always been like hours beforehand at maybe an hour is probably about as close as I can remember. I think, no, actually, we had a couple players last second who said they couldn't make it earlier this year, and so we actually called off some streams like 10 minutes after we were supposed to start because people didn't show because they were sick or whatever happened. So, yeah, I guess actually that wasn't as true as I thought. But yeah. I've never had like a steady group like since high school, right? Like I feel like that was one of the things that always came up for people. Like, oh yeah, we're all buddies at each other's house, and then we play D&D on Fridays, and we were already there. Oh, but Bill didn't show up, so we didn't play D&D. You know, like I've never, as an adult, experienced that. But all my friends talk about it happening in high school a lot. So
we used to get together every Sunday at my one friend's house, and their landlord thought we were getting together for Bible study. It's like, and he's a nice guy, and none of us were overtly religious, and we all looked like, hey, apparently this landlord never actually have talked to you, Tony. And
you guys didn't bring enough books because you brought one book. Probably.
Oh, we were real nerds. We had milk crates.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got my milk crate right here. So I got a black one down here. Love those things. They're great for transporting your books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mine are holding all my Dominion games.
Yeah.
And
I actually asked my mom to give me some of hers next time I saw her. So it's been about 7 months since I've seen her. So
you just don't show up at the local convenience store and kind of borrow the milk crates?
I don't see them anymore.
No, that's because we keep them inside now.
There is one gas station that I see they stack up their like all the where the 2 liters are in. I always see those stacked out back. Always. And I'm like, man, there's like hundreds right there. Like they wouldn't notice if 10 of them were missing.
But you can't use them for anything but 2 liters.
Oh, I could figure something out probably.
Mm-hmm.
Or you see the people with the plastic, they got the racks for the pop. They use them for bicycle racks.
Right.
It's like, why does it say Coca-Cola on your bike rack? Oh, I got it at Goodwill. I was like, okay.
Paula said in high school, if people don't show up, we just went and rolled new characters and started a new adventure. I mean, that makes sense. Doing a one shot. I've heard of that as a solution for people. Yeah. What do you do to I guess you could do that today. Like if it was a streamed game that got canceled 2 hours before or something, you could talk to the other players and do a one shot for sure. I never thought of that.
Yeah. If it's campaign, you can kind of do a side quest or something.
Right. Yeah, you could do that or a solo thing that doesn't really impact XP. Maybe you give them a magic item because they're the one that showed up.
Yeah, I was missing 2 players, and 2 players showed up. I just rolled with it, and then that's when I killed one of the players.
You killed one that wasn't there?
No, he was there.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
Oh,
we'll
that
just,
sucks.
just come up with something just to pass the time. And
And you killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me as a player, if a game gets canceled, it's like, all right, I got so much to do. I'll just go back to work.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, I'll get more work done today. Then, but as a player, I don't think I've actually canceled a game because people couldn't make it. I mean, obviously, if none of the players could make it, maybe I'd find something else to do that day. But in the last couple of years, I've even run games like if all but one person can't come, I'll just ask that person like, hey, do you still want a game? Like, I'll still run the session for just
awesome.
one. And I've done that 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years, where just for whatever reason everybody else can't make that day, but one person can. I'll just reach out to that person and be like, hey, you still want to play D&D?
Right.
Yeah.
and I'll just keep going with the story. Like, screw it, everybody missed. Their characters are off wandering somewhere.
How'd you like that doing I've run solo games for Paula. I've done original Pathfinder, let her run 2 characters, and then we did it in Heroes Unlimited, I think, once. And she made there's an option in the newer book to make like I think it's called a mega hero, and we went with that, and she rolled like an immortal or something.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, so in Heroes Unlimited, you can make any variety of characters. There's no balance, is not even a thought in the system. So you could have a character who literally can, I don't know, turn into a rag doll. Like, that's it. They just turn into a rag doll. And you might have another character who's, better than Superman, or whatever. Like, think of the most powerful character you can think of.
Yep.
And they're on the same group, So anyways, the mega hero is a whole nother layer that's outside of that already. Like they're all the most powerful one you can think of, and then they layer on some other stuff.
Yeah, I saw that, and to me, it's like, man, that doesn't look interesting at all to play. It's like,
for balance, though, I mean, in our situation, I thought it worked out great. We only played one session of that, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think like she ended up beating someone up on top of like a skyscraper or something, or beating up a bunch of people on top of a skyscraper. And I think we were playing up the whole like her character being an actual like god who doesn't like conform to like societal norms or something, if I remember right. Basically, she was like female Thor. Kind of was her thing, if I remember right. So, but yeah, I haven't run a lot of solo games, so I've always kind of wondered because I've heard people did that with like their siblings and stuff growing up. I never had that opportunity. So what do you think of that experience compared to like a normal game session?
I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but I've enjoyed the couple that I've run. Mm-hmm. The only thing that slogs a bit is combat encounters. It's strange just being like, okay, now you go, now I go, now you go, now I go, now you go, now I go. But like the rest of the session, I really enjoy engaging with just the one person. Especially if it's the person who usually in the group is the quieter one, because now they're essentially forced to engage and do things. Mm-hmm. And it's like that happened twice where it was like, oh, this is what your character is actually like when you're not being, when your voice is basically not being squashed by everybody louder at the table. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I did. I was running Heroes Unlimited, and I think I did it with 2 people. And the side quest was they found a book that's been stolen, and they actually read the book and told them where to find the portal to go to another world at. And then when the rest of the group got back together, it's like, hey, did you know there's a portal up in the Redwood Forest we can go check out?
Mm-hmm.
it's a modern day setting too. It's like, oh yeah, let's go.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I really like, especially if I'll continue the story but with only the one player, and then the next session where it's with everybody, they feel a little special, like they have that book, or they discovered the thing. One of the random scenarios I had was the group had to clear 6 different areas, and the solo game, the player cleared 2 of them themselves, and left a particular item somewhere, kind of back at the home base. And then when the rest of the group came back, or actually the rest of the group left a particular item somewhere to see if it would disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And in the solo game, the player was like, cool, an item, I'll take it. So when the whole group came back, they were like, oh crap, it disappeared. And that meant something in the canon of the story that was important, but it ended up not, their fears were misconstrued just because the solo player was like, what are you guys talking about? I have it. So I like continuing the story, even if a whole bunch of people cancel last minute.
Right.
Creates unique opportunities.
I always felt like it would be more taxing, like more tiring at the end, running for one person. It just like, it's kind of like my comparison of running a game online compared to in person. I just feel like online, everyone's so focused the whole time because there's no like side talk, for the most part and things like that, that it's just a more intense, exhausting experience. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, I'm always drained after a game like that, like online games, as opposed to like in person. But one-on-one, I feel like would make me feel that way too. Because again, like there's not really a lot of side jokes when it's 2 people, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Like making little comments about something that happens or whatever. I feel like that would happen far less in a one-on-one game. Even if you're playing with the person who always has to make a comment about something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny that the online games drain you. I get drained more in person.
Really?
Online, it's like nothing. I just keep going.
Yeah. In person, I could do it all day. Now, maybe not as a GM or DM.
Okay.
As a player, I could 100% go all day for an in-person game. Online, I hit that like 3-hour mark, and I'm struggling.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, and as a GM, someone running the game, I don't know. I think in person is still my preferred because I think it's less tiring, whereas again online is still that laser focus from everybody. Because I think when I run home games, like there's a lot more like pausing to laugh about something or whatever.
Right.
And then online again, it's still that, so it's more serious, not serious, but just dedicated. Everyone's attention is 100% on the game.
You think that lets people? Do you think that lets people get more focused into their character's mindset?
I don't know, because in general, I've just had different experiences with player types. Because I most people I've ever played with in person, they don't get into their character's mindset. It's not very immersive or deep usually. I think in most in-person games, it's far more beer and pretzels, I guess, and like just having a good time with friends or whoever. At least from my personal experiences. Again, I actually know that not all groups are like that, but at least mine, it feels that way.
I mean, there's I've had play games where I've almost of 2 minds. It's like when I'm in my PC mode, it's like, yeah, I'm a ruthless, evil dictator.
Right.
But, then I lean back in my chair and crack a joke. It's like, no, this is, just me being me.
Right. Yeah, no, well, so here's the other thing, I guess. So a lot of my personal experiences, I've played more with casual people in person rather than people that have like bookshelves of gaming books. So, it's the person that might have a player's handbook, but really they're there because their friend is there kind of thing, or their spouse is there. We've played a lot of couples games and it's been great. Don't get me wrong. I don't think most of the other couples have ever been big tabletop gamers. You know what I mean? Or RPGers, I should say. They might like board games a lot, but they don't dabble too much with role-playing games.
So the term beer and pretzels game now
Yeah.
has been said a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the impression, as opposed to what? Like the
So-
serious, is that the
Yeah,
sherry
it's
and
the
wine
opposite
game
of
or
serious.
something?
It's the people that are like, hey, let's play vampire, wear cloaks, and light candles around the table. Like, that is the opposite of beer and pretzels. That's the immersive, like, let's sit down and get really, really in depth. Like let's method act kind of thing.
Okay, don't talk out of character at all. Is that
Yes.
is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's that's the extreme version. Like, that's just problem players, or problem groups. I don't know. That's not for me. I like more casual games, in general. Like, even when I'm playing with diehards, like Luke is a great example. So Luke in our Descent into Avernus game, total goofball, speaks meta all the time, a joke, like he's always cracking jokes. Love it. Like, I absolutely love it. It does not. Some people I know think that would take them out of the game. Like, they would not have fun because he's kind of disruptive, loud, little. I guess I don't think it is, but some people who would play in that would probably think it's obnoxious, But yeah, no, for me, I'm like, no, that's cool. I like playing with both sets of people, actually. It's a matter of when people get snooty about it. Either way, that's when I have a problem. Because look, hey, if you want to light some candles in your house and hold hands while you're casting your ritual spells or something, go for it. Like, have fun. That's probably not for me.
Yeah, that's kind of extreme for me too. It's like,
I'm not into LARPing.
yeah,
I'm too out of shape for that.
yeah. There's a reason why I weigh 255 pounds.
Right.
I like sitting in the chair and just rolling the dice.
Right.
I don't want to run across the field.
Yeah, what was the question? I don't even remember what got.
Oh, if people are more focused online into their characters, and I think if I was to play online as a character, I think I might just be more into that. I might say I am thinking like Bob the Fighter.
I think the big thing is, like, say if I was running the game right now and we're in the middle of like combat or a session or whatever, if you and Peter tried to do like normal table side talk online, it doesn't work, right? Because then nobody can hear anybody. And so that doesn't happen in online games. And I think that right there changes the tone of every online game, in my opinion, a little bit, at least for me. Because when I play in-person games, I am someone who will sometimes make a comment to the person next to me or make little jokes to just the one, whereas online I might do it, but I probably don't do it nearly as much as I do in person. In person, Paula tells me I interrupt everybody. Like, I'm just that person who sometimes, like, I'll hear someone talking and I'll think I know what they're going to say, and I start answering the question rather than be polite and listen. Whereas she is polite and listens, which is why a lot of times she does not ever get to say what she wants to say at the moment she wants to in a game. And then she sits there for 10 minutes, and then the moments pass, so now she can't say it. And then after the session, she blames me for not letting her talk.
Well, in fairness to Paula, it probably was your fault.
She should speak up. No,
so is Paula making snarky comments about me in chat like I do to her?
No. She
okay.
Had that one comment. She's probably not even there anymore.
Oh,
like,
okay.
This is boring. I can't listen to these guys.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that. Okay. Yeah, they. The in-person stuff, though, I think, again, it's just a more laid-back atmosphere. And in general, I'm a more laid-back person, and I don't feel like I can be laid-back as a GM online. Like, I feel I'm always on my toes, like, looking for my notes. Because that's the other thing. Online, I now have a laptop in my way. And so I don't have as much table space for my notes or how I normally do things. So that's also a different factor for me. So I'm just more intense, I guess, online than in person. But yeah, I don't know. And then that's most of our topics. We also have, we were going to talk about that Rifts one shot. And then live streaming. I said before, I'm not going to do any more live streams and stuff. But I do want to increase the amount of videos I put out. So, I mean, if anything, that probably means there's going to be more content through the channel than less. So that'll be good. But December, I'm not sure if it's going to be the 26th or 27th yet. The day after Christmas or the day after that, Saturday and Sunday. Going to be running a Rifts one shot. I will make pre-gen characters. I'll type them up in a Word doc, send them over for whatever character people end up wanting, if they want to play. Right now, Victor, you said you could play the 26th. Do you know if you'd be available the 27th also?
I did ask for that whole weekend off.
Oh, okay, cool. So then
I got like 14 days of vacation time to take before the end of the year.
Oh, perfect. And then you wanted to be a techno wizard, you said.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a different PC you want to make up, I was thinking about, you know what, that might be fun because it might be a character I never played before.
Oh, if I made it, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna make probably more than I need to. No matter what, I'm only taking it out of the core Rifts book too. That's the other thing. I'm not going to do anything else.
You don't want to use the other 57 rule books?
I don't own the other 57 rule books. So I've never run Rifts ever in my life. I've played in the world a handful of times, but I mostly played Heroes Unlimited growing up. TMNT, Heroes Unlimited, even online games. I don't think I've ever played a Rifts game online actually. But I've played a ton of Heroes Unlimited games with people.
The mechanics are very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna run it fairly the same. I don't know what's different other than MDC, SDC stuff, but I know they're. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's about it. You got MD. You got.
And I know how that works because I use that sometimes in the Heroes games. So, but only in rare instances, like there's a tank down the street. You're shooting it with your handgun. Why is it not doing anything? Yeah, it's like denting it and putting holes in the outside sheet metal, but it's running just fine. Like,
yeah,
you know.
But I'm going to shoot it 5,000 times with the 22.
Yeah, okay. Keep reloading.
Well, you should have brought a rocket launcher.
Right. Exactly. So it's one of those things where I tried, like with Heroes, with Palladium in general, I feel like they tried to emulate reality. Like that was what their goal was, to try and be as realistic as possible, even though designing it, they clearly had flaws in things that they just don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like the skill percentages and why they're all different at first level for different skills. And it's like, why are they like this? It just feels very arbitrary. It's not even like it's based on what's most useful. It's literally just like, 37% for this, 42 for this for no reason. You know, some things they make really hard and it makes sense, but you know, most of it's not done that way. It feels like, you know, so.
And very few of their skills have any prerequisites to them.
Right. Other than like rogue stuff, I think, and military stuff. There's like some demolitions, I think. And then the rogue, like criminal stuff, you have to be like a dropout, like a high school dropout in order to even get them or something, which is silly to me. But yeah, so I'm going to make a bunch of pre-gens. I'm probably going to make like a Cyber Knight, a Juicer, ex-Coalition soldier, a dog boy that serves him probably. And I'm probably going to type a paragraph for how each character knows each other. You know, and then of what I make, I'll make extras, and then whatever people want to play, they can just pick and play. And the extras just won't be there for whatever reason. So that's probably how I'll do that. But yeah, hey, so Peter can play if it's on the 26th.
I could probably swing the 26th unless you do the 27th early in the afternoon.
Oh,
the 27th.
I know,
but I don't want to start messing with time.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go earlier just because of kids. But Paula said she would play if we needed her. So I could, on Saturday, if we played, I got 3 at least there. I would probably go for at least one more. And I'd probably reach out to Discord or whatever, or another YouTuber or something. Sunday, Paula would play, Phil would play, and Victor would play. So I have 3 there. So either way, at least one game is happening. Maybe if I get enough interest, I will play both nights the same scenario. That might be kind of fun. Because that wouldn't require any extra prep. It would just be the time to sit down and do it. And like the week of Christmas, like I have nothing going on. So other than, other stuff, but like not a lot of videos. I'm not going to stream on Christmas or Christmas Eve or, any of that stuff. So that might be one of those weekends I could do something like that. So that would be kind of cool. So yeah, other than that, Dragon Age, this beautiful book over here. We will be playing that, I think, late January will be the idea there. And obviously these games get offered to you guys first. $10 and up patrons get first dibs. And we'll get first dibs on any pre-gens too, Then I open it up to the rest of the patrons, and then I open it up to Discord, and, we fill up the games. So if I don't have a full group by, I would say, probably next weekend, I will probably then reach out to the other patrons, and then if I don't have anything after about a week of that, it'll be the same week of the game, and I'll just open it up to Discord. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of doing it. But really, there's no like set day. It's just like one day I'll decide. So, but yeah, those are what we have going though. Is just the Dragon Age one in January, Rifts in late December this month, and then I might do like Pathfinder 2nd edition if people end up wanting to try that. Maybe I'll just run D&D 5e because it's simple and fun. I'm open to doing whatever. And who knows, maybe I'll just pull a scenario out of a dang module. Like, hey, it's the end of this one. We're playing the last part. Oh, time ran out. You didn't finish it, so you can't say you beat the module. Like,
well, I mean, I could run Heroes Unlimited if you want to really play it.
Oh, I'd be open for a one shot. I just don't have time to commit to a campaign.
Yeah,
so that's the only thing there.
We could do a one shot.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I would be open to that. Yeah, so it would have to be so I have one Saturday a month that's free, because of the alternating schedule. Yeah, I say free. It's so obviously all my Saturday campaigns rotate every 4 weeks, but I have 3. So there's a 4th that's open for a one shot. So I could do it then, which is technically the patron one shot. So if we did Heroes Unlimited one of those nights, if you wanted to do it Sunday after Christmas, that would actually work.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking
Saturday I run Rifts.
Saturday, like sometime in January.
Oh, okay. So like 2 months from now. Yeah, I don't know what my weekends look like.
Yeah. I usually have Tuesday, Wednesdays off is my normal days off of work.
Right.
So.
Yep. Yeah, Tuesdays obviously we have this, and then the Back Me game. Wednesdays I mini paint. So
okay.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't play because we also have a Thursday now every week.
Oh, you're a busy man.
Oh, dude, I stream 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then obviously I record videos on the other 2 and family stuff. But yeah, I was gonna say there's that Friday every other week tends to be available too. So the Fridays that I don't play Pathfinder 2nd edition, those Fridays are open too. So I could do that. But obviously you work, so
I don't work hard, but I work.
So Peter, you got your game, right?
Yep, I'm good for right now. There's been no invite that has been sent, so I'm good.
Okay, I was like,
it usually runs about 15 minutes late, so we're good.
All right, cool. So, what games would you guys end up wanting to see down the line for like monthly one shots?
Really, 5e.
Yeah, D&D 5e.
5e. It's because I've played that before. It's like, oh, this is a nice, easy. Make up a character. I haven't looked at the Pathfinder 2nd edition, but I think if I'm remembering Pathfinder 1st edition, it was like it takes some time to make a character.
Honestly, I don't have a hard time in second edition making a character. It's actually pretty simple. But if you're one of those people that when you're creating a character, you feel like you have to read every single spell of that level before you pick one, then yes, it's going to take you a long time because there's a ton of different feats, different things you get to choose from.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people that like, so I'm not. I'm one of those people that's like, most of the time, the first thing I come across that sounds cool, I just pick it, especially for a one shot. Like I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds good, and then based on my selections that I thought were cool, then I make a character. Then I'm like, okay, why are they this weirdo that doesn't mesh? Oh, that's why. Now they mesh. It all makes sense. So, but yeah, 5e will definitely be in at some point as one of the one shots. I think Pathfinder 2nd Edition might be, especially as I am curious about trying out different things, because one shots are perfect if you're testing like encounters or whatever. So might do something like that. Probably sometime in the spring, both of those. And yeah, down the line, I'll definitely run a Heroes Unlimited as well. So Heroes Unlimited is actually the system I have the most, other than 5e, where I have the most characters for. So it would be easy to just be like, here's a pre-gen. You're like, what do you want? Do you want to be strong? Okay, great. Here you go. I've got like 7 options. This one can shoot lasers. This one can turn into metal. This one over here can jump like a I don't know, the Hulk. Jumps like the Hulk. Yeah, it jumps like 50 feet up in the air for some reason. No, there's some wacky combos in there. I wish I could remember them all right now. But yeah, so we'll definitely do that. I've got other games too, like Adventures in Middle Earth, which is the D&D 5e rules. Maybe do something with that. I don't know. Maybe I will actually play one of these games up here someday that I didn't think I would. So, yeah, we'll see. It's just so hard to find people usually. Like,
yeah,
it's like, hey, we're gonna play this obscure game that you've never played before. You want to play? Well, sell me on it. I don't know. I've never played it. I just have the book. I want to try it.
Yeah, let's try it. See if it's any fun.
Right. So
the worst that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I wish there was an easy person out there that could just be like, yeah, I'll run this new game like out of the blue, and they knew it. Like they didn't have to spend a month reading the rules. They could literally just play it 5 minutes later because they got it down.
I think there's something in my backyard I have to go yell at to get out. So,
we got to wrap up anyway.
Yeah.
Peter's got his game, and I got to bounce too. So.
Yeah, I think the police are chasing the people out of the abandoned house next to me. So.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Watch out, man.
Well, that's why the dogs were going crazy earlier, and it happens like every 6 weeks. So.
Nice.
All initiative.
I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
Later.
Right. Take care, Victor.
Yeah, no, like I want to run a bunch of different games, and I just never feel like there's enough time to do it. And it's the time to like learn the rules. Oh, you got to create your own characters, and like that's the hardest part is like that. It's the time involved for a new system that might not be fun to play. It might look cool. It might actually sound like it's fun, and then you sit down to play it, and you're like, "Oh, this new quirky mechanic sucks,"
Yep.
But you don't know until you play it. So. And how people interact with it at the table is also interesting. So.
Yep, and the group you put together.
Yes, 100%.
You're like,
So
this isn't gonna work.
It looks like. Do we have a question? I think an online game. So O'Neill Flynn says, I think an online game that isn't streamed is relaxing for me. The streamed ones, I'm laser focused and not as goofy. 100% agree. That's how I feel. Melchior says, maybe I should ask permission from my group to record our sessions and then upload it to YouTube. Might be fun to see if people like it. We're in downtime at the moment, but in the next session or two, we'll probably be entering the next adventure. Yeah, I mean, there is something very cool about the fact that like you can upload something for yourself, and then all of a sudden people enjoy it. Like, it's really cool, you know. I can't describe I remember the first time going to a gaming convention and meeting someone who watched my YouTube videos and recognized me from my YouTube videos. And it was it was really cool and weird at the same time, because you're like, wait, I'm just like a normal dude, and I'm they're acting like this is a really cool thing. And I don't know who they are.
Yep.
So, but you do end up making, friends and stuff from doing that. Like, obviously at this point, like, I consider Dave and Peter and Bill from Roll Stats and Victor, like, I consider them friends at this point, like, I talk to Peter here like almost every day, if not every day. Yeah.
I haven't been blocked yet.
It would take a lot. So, Melchior, you might find if you upload your games that you might meet some really cool people that you get along well with. So do it. And hell, you don't even have to make it public. Like, that's the thing too. Like, when I first was thinking about uploading live streams or whatever, live plays or whatever, they weren't going to be like shared. It was going to be unlisted for me, I have like a personal family channel where I have some videos up that are unlisted and they're just for me. I've shared like my daughter's birthday party with family and stuff that couldn't make it. And I'm planning on doing, something for Christmas this year like that, where I'll do the same thing, and then just send it to them. So, yeah, I say do it, but not everyone's comfortable with it either. And make sure everyone knows they're being recorded. So,
yeah.
Unless you literally just record it and leave it on your computer for yourself. That's kind of a little different, I feel like. But if you're going to put it online somewhere, yeah, definitely tell the players. So, anyways, you guys have anything else that you want to talk about or whatever? Or otherwise we could just go. I'm like on fumes right now. In case you guys didn't know, on Discord last night, I was posting, I think, my last post at like 4:30 a.m. And I think I was up with the kids at like 8 a.m., which sounds like a reasonable amount of sleep, kind of, not really. But, I'm old and I'm not used to it.
Cool. Not an excuse.
What's that, Dave?
No, I see no harm in calling it early today.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, then, thank you for watching if you were watching. And thank you guys, obviously, for supporting the channel. Go check out Tactile Tokens. That's Dave on the bottom here. And also, go check out BN Drake's channel. He has Stars Without Numbers games. I don't even know all. You got a couple different games other than that, don't you? They're just older campaigns or something.
Yeah, I got 2 older Stars Without Number campaigns. There's a couple old 5e campaigns. There's a whole set of like 55 recap videos so you don't have to watch all.
Those are the best.
How many hours there are? I actually did recap videos.
Yeah,
they're take responsibility for all the shenanigans I've done, but
they are hilarious, and more people should watch Peter's channel for sure. You got to watch the Tyranny of Juce video, I think is what it was.
The Tales of Demise.
Tales of Demise.
It's the first video. It's called Hell. No, is it? Yeah, is that the one? No, it's not. That's the second one. What's the first one called? No, I can't think of it.
I can't remember. I just always think of it as Tyranny of Juice, especially since you put it as your backdrop. I think.
Yes, I did.
Videos.
Yes, I did.
Oh, I love it. It cracks me up. And I'm waiting for more of those. I have a feeling we're going to see a few of those soon.
Yeah, there's a couple. We're close to pulling the trigger on a couple more.
They're must watch, guys. They are. But yeah. So anyways, it's been fun, and we'll do this again in about 2 weeks. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. If I can find the
See you.
buttons.
All right.